Explosion. Hello ladies and gentlemen, Zigil here, and today we're going to be reviewing a channel called Pro Robots, and we are going to get excited for the future because we're going to do holograms and NASA space programs, and man, I'm terrified. So, let's get started, shall we?
NASA and Microsoft as Google teaches robots new skills. Unique robotic Tesla, a Chinese robot rat that can penetrate anywhere.
A robotic rat that can penetrate anywhere? I don't know about that one.
A data center on the moon, and other news from the world of high tech in today's one episode.
Actually, I can't lie, that right there, that scene was, that was pretty cool.
NASA told how it holoported doctors to the International Space Station last autumn.
When the hell did we do that?
According to the agency's press release, on October 8th of 2021, astronaut Thomas Pesky communicated with the
This right here, it just looks like they did a bad Photoshop and then they grained the heck out of it. I mean, hey, live long and prosper, eh?
Hologram of surgeon Joseph Schmidt and a team of nurses. Holograms were created and transferred to the ISS with the help of Microsoft HoloLens Connect camera.
More to the point of what we can do with VR and AR. But then again, if they can do this, where the hell's my ticket?
A special software from the startup AXA Aerospace, which creates high-quality 3D models of people. As a result, thanks to holoportation, from the combination of the words hologram and
that awkward high five.
Thanks to holoportation, from the
Yeah, Jim, we did it, man. Yeah, we did. Oh god, we're never gonna get to space.
combination of the words hologram and teleportation, astronauts were able to communicate with people from Earth in real time.
That's a pretty good simulation right there, because Jim here just frickin' disappeared.
Project participants reported that the technology would make it possible to reach the ISS live at any time without affecting the station's movement at 28,000 kilometers or the altitude of 402 kilometers above Earth. Microsoft has been working on holoportation for the past 6 years, but this is the first time it's been used outside of the Earth. And now the company plans to combine it with augmented reality technologies to improve the experience of all involved participants.
They've been working on it for a year. They've been about it. And, okay, so here's my thing. Is it going to cost me $5.2 trillion to do this, or am I going to be able to do this for free?
A group of Japanese scientists has created nanobots capable of operating as an organized system. The swarm's efficiency was 5 times greater than that of single devices, with nanobots sharing the workload, responding to risks, and even creating complex structures in response to environmental changes. The team constructed about 5 million nanobots consisting of 2 biological components, microtubules associated with DNAs, and a kind of drive capable of transporting the microtubules. DNA was combined with light-sensitive azobenzene, which functioned as a sensor and helped control the swarm. When applied to a compound by visible light,
You know, whenever we get into talks of nanotechnology, it's funny how it's like, we always tend to think of the worst case rather than the best case, but the truth is, because it's technology, we tend to do that anyway. But at the same time, with all that nanotech, I mean, who knows? Maybe it works out for the long run.
it forms double strands of DNA and many microtubules. Exposure to ultraviolet radiation reverses this process. The weight for the nanobots was polystyrene balls with a diameter of 1 to 10 micrometers, and as a result,
You know, with all this talk of technology and radiation, I often wonder how it's like to live as a glow stick. Gotta be great at parties.
the nanorobots would pick up the load when exposed to visible light and give it away when exposed to ultraviolet.
Look at this. Look at this huge claw right here. Look, I mean, you may have heard of clotting, but this right here, this is just... that's way too much.
Exposed to visible light and give it away when exposed to ultraviolet light. In the future, swarms of nanobots can be used for transportation and collection of cargo, as well as for the construction of complex structures. Tesla has reported a profit for the first quarter of 2022, which increased by 81% compared to the same period a year earlier.
You know, I'd almost be interested to see if Elon could make some kind of like, I don't know, stealth jet or something like that. Can you imagine that? Tesla, stealth jet.
Interestingly, the company's CEO, Elon Musk, said in his report that in 2024, the company plans to launch the production of fully autonomous robotics without a rudder or pedal. Musk sees the new cars as the driving force of the next stage of Tesla growth and plans to dedicate it to a separate event next year.
Moving on.
The American startup
Whoa, hydrogen gun? Okay, you know, I think we've somehow managed to peak here, because now we're planning on using spin tops to launch crap into space. So, hydrogen gun. So let me guess, is it some kind of super soaker that launches rockets up into space now? Like what's going on here?
Green Launch introduced a hydrogen gun for inexpensive and environmentally friendly satellite launch into Earth orbit. Essentially, the development is a long tube filled with a mixture of hydrogen, helium, and oxygen. The payload is accelerated by a rapid expansion of the gases inside the tube, and according to developers, the hydrogen cannon can fire satellites every 60 to 90 minutes. Low Earth orbits at altitude between 300 and 1,000 kilometers can be reached in less than 2 hours, and some are much.
Dang, that thing went freaking fast. You know, that's kind of my question is, so they want to launch all this stuff into space with the help of this new kind of hydrogen cannon, but at the same time, it's like, what needs to go in there to make sure that everything stays intact? Because otherwise, that thing's not making it to space. That thing's just going to be in pieces all over the freaking ground.
In this case, the projectile should be a mini rocket with a second stage, which will help the instrument to reach the correct orbit. In essence, a hypersonic cannon replaces the first stage of a rocket, which reduces the cost of launching and reduces the environmental load.
We're going in the hypersonics now. I mean, don't get me wrong, hypersonic, you going to get it up there. I can't do this.
Years at the Beijing Institute of Technology.
Look at this thing. I mean, this to me is just absolutely astounding. I mean, first it started with regular drones, then it went into the dogs, and now we have created maybe not so finely tuned, but then again, this thing is up and moving. This kind of robo rat. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Spying just got a lot easier.
Are developing a rat robot to work in disaster zones and monitor pipelines. The Skew-Row robot can walk, crawl, and climb objects, as well as turn sharply with unprecedented dexterity.
I think he's having a little trouble.
Also, the Skew-Row can recover from falls, as can its biological prototype. To create the robot, scientists use X-rays of real rats to better understand the animal's anatomy, especially the joints. They then develop the Skew-Row to have structure.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I see where they're going with this, but at the same time, God, that's just freaky.
Movement models and degrees of freedom similar to that of the rodents they had studied. This includes 2 degrees of freedom in each limb, waist, and the head. The robot successfully passed all of the experiments that the robot was assigned, including carrying 200 grams of cargo, 91% of its own body weight, over a field with a gradient of up to 20 degrees.
Oh, so they're making a super rat that can pretty much... Guys, I just found Jeff Bezos' new idea.
Lone Star Startup announced plans to establish data centers on the moon. Equipment for the verification of the concept, namely the server and storage module, will be sent as part of Lunar Mission Intuitive Machines IM-2, scheduled for December of this year.
So basically, the next time you're having problems with your printer, your computer, or anything, just call Ricky. He'll be at Moon Center 1.
The company's engineers expect the Lunar Data Center to provide peripheral computing for the future missions, as well as backup and disaster recovery services. In the future, the startup plans to make the moon a place to provide premium data storage services. The company has already received venture capital funding and has applied to the International Telecommunication Union for the use of radio frequency spectrum on the moon.
They gonna put the Warzone servers up there? I mean, we'll get better reception, probably.
And Hyundai Motor will use the quantum technologies to classify images and recognize 3D objects. IonQ has already made great progress in classifying 43 types of road signs.
Whoa. That's a pretty trippy car.
Using its own quantum capacity. The next step will be to
Can you imagine if this thing was one big QR code on wheels? I mean, you talk about self-promotion, right? This is it.
Combine quantum machine learning with the Hyundai test environment and reproduce a variety of scenarios possible in the real world. IonQ and Hyundai intend to find a wider application of quantum technologies. For example, in addition to road signs, three-dimensional objects such as pedestrians and cyclists will be recognized. The newest quantum computer IonQ Aria will be responsible for data processing.
You know, that is a very interesting thing, and in fact, if they were to do it right, they could take that concept, put it toward the Google car with all the cameras on it, and just imagine, instead of having all the cameras on top, imagine having the entire car is your camera. Imagine having the ability for you using VR or 360 on your phone. All you have to do is access that app with the Google Maps, and you could just do a full scale with 360, and maybe it wouldn't be as, like, you know, broken as it already is, but, you know, that's just a thought.
The Japanese company JR West introduced a robot for railway maintenance. It's a platform with an integrated humanoid.
Ladies and gentlemen, the robot that's going to build your bullet train railway. I have to wonder, would it make sense to put this robot as your conductor? The same robot that built your railway? In my opinion, it might.
Robot on a retractable structure. The robot can perform various works with heavy equipment at high altitudes. The robot's controlled by an operator who sees the first-person image and can receive feedback.
Look at this. We got an operator. We got a robot. I mean, everyone on board that train is probably screwed, but you know, at least our operator saw it before it happened.
Back from the machine about the interaction with the objects. Control of the bot requires almost no training. And while the robot itself can interact with objects of any shape, it's not afraid of shocks. This development will go on sale in 2024 and should improve the productivity and safety of railway workers. For the past 5 years, researchers at the Tokyo Information Somatics Laboratory have been testing the capabilities of additional robotic limbs that
Okay, this just proves to me we're trying our best to get to Dr. Otto Octavius levels of genius, because we want to have the extra limbs, we want to have all this stuff. You know, in fact, it is actually not too bad an idea, because with these extra attachments you can do a lot more, especially with vlogging, content creation, or just travel in general. But just don't look to be climbing up any walls anytime soon. No, that won't end well.
That could help a person perform various actions, similar to those of Dr. Octopus in the Marvel comic book series.
It writes itself!
The aim is to find the ways to restructure the human body, paying particular attention to increasing and multiplying the capabilities of our upper limbs.
Okay, if I'm going to be able to do all that, I want to climb the frickin' wall, okay? I want to climb the frickin' wall, I want to shoot the frickin' web, and then, you know, let me pick the car up then. That's what I want.
Originally, the upper limbs were controlled by leg movements, but now they respond to shoulder movements. Work is in progress, but it will be interesting to see the final.
This guy is literally hands-free while being all hands-on. It's not a euphemism. It's just happening right here, right now. That is exceptionally unbelievable.
Results. Apple demonstrated the work of its robot Daisy, capable of dismantling the iPhone to recycle device parts. The reported robot performance is 200 iPhone per hour, i.e., one Daisy bot can recycle up to 1.2 million iPhones per year. The robot has 4 modules. The first is responsible for removing the display, and the second separates the battery from the device. Since the battery is glued to the back of the iPhone, the robot uses a strong gust of very cold air to loosen the glue. The third
Daisy may not be confident in herself, but my God is she up.
Screws the screws from the phone. The fourth module places all components and parts on a conveyor belt so that people can put them in containers, and depending on the type of material for further processing. The robotics research team at Google is developing a new way to train robots. People can learn just by watching, but robots can't because
I talked about this before, especially when it came to AI and sentiment analysis. We have our body, eyes, self-learning robot makes decisions potentially based on emotion, if it learns that as well. Oh man, they're just gliding around the room.
Because of differences in their construction with the human body. To solve this problem, the team introduced a self-control method for cross-embodying reverse learning with reinforcement, or XIRL. According to him, instead of trying to directly replicate human actions, the robot discovers their ultimate goal.
Now they can open doors. Just put that in a full body.
He then summarizes this information as a reward function that is independent of physical differences such as the shape and effect of finite effectors, and learning to get there by trial and error.
This whole time I was doing this, I kind of thought to myself, hey, no big deal, I'm just doing a review. And then the music kicked in. MCA'd.
At the same time, robots learn more when video examples were varied. Experiments have shown that the new method of learning has led to an increase in learning efficiency, with reinforcement of 2 to 4 times. The Endo and Suzumori laboratories of the Tokyo Institute of Technology have developed a...
You know, there are some robot designs that I can understand what you were thinking. And then there are some that just kind of...
soft tensogrit robot driven by a thin artificial muscle. The robot for exploring unknown spaces is constantly striving to move forward.
Oh, that's an unknown space, all right. Boy.
Adapting to the shape of the environment and literally pressing against the walls of space.
Oh god, it's like a giant mechanical worm.
Engineers have also created a neural network capable of recognizing the shape and structure of a tensogrit robot. In this way, researchers can recognize the shape and size, for example, of underground caves or entrances into rubble.
And you know, it's absolutely amazing all the stuff that we have created over the years, everything from new electronic cars to drones and everything like that. And it's really interesting to see where we're going with some of the new stuff. Well, when I say new stuff, let's calm down. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video and if you enjoyed Pro Robots, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button for myself. Go check out Pro Robots. They have a lot of awesome videos that I'm sure you'll enjoy watching. And you know what? I'm hoping to do some more on these as well and have some more fun with them. So, I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day or night wherever you are. And, as always, I am Zidril, signing off.